So this is 1,000 chickens.
This is crazy. Gosh.
Isn't it pretty?
It is.
Beautiful.
Tater bug, eating my potatoes. Tater bug, don't want my tomatoes. Tater bug, what makes you so hungry? Tater bug, eating all my money. What makes your garden grow? Water and sunshine.
So, settled here, and Dad was an accountant, Mom was a school teacher. The dream was to, to farm, but Dad and Mom never made a living from the farm. They did the off-farm job thing for 10 years and paid for it. Okay, took them 10 years, two salaries off-farm, and got it paid for. But it was a great place to grow up. I mean, I remember as a kid being able to walk all the fields, never set foot on a piece of vegetation because it was so barren. 10 cows. It was 550 acres. When we bought it, it was 160 open, and the balance in woodland. We reforested about 60 acres, and so now it's 100 and 450 wooded. All the steep hillsides as we go. Every steep hillside was open with cow paths. The typical. All right. Over the years, we went into we dug ponds and hauled that silt back up on those gullies and covered everything up. So today now we've got these pretty fields and a pond. So you kind of get a twofer by digging the pond and covering up the junk. So then, I remember as a kid, when I was this age, every day we had a blackboard in the house. We still have it, and it gave the list for the day. When you're off of school, right? We didn't have homeschooling in those days. I wish we had, but we didn't. All right, so we'd have these job lists, and in the summer, more days than not, 2 hours chopping thistles.
Wow.
I mean, every single day, Today, you'd be hard pressed to find enough to chop in an hour on the whole place. So I just, so the joy of my life is to be able to see the transformation and know that you could participate in that. What an honor, to be able to be redemptive hands, redemptive feet, and actually viscerally touch, caress this womb and tease out abundance that was latent, desirous, but it just needed some attention. And so I'm growing up, and then, at 10 I got my first chickens, and early on, I well remember the Sunday. I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and old enough to remember for sure. And we took a Sunday afternoon drive. Dad wanted to go see this guy. And I don't remember whether it was north or south or where it was, but it was a couple hours away from the place here. Went and visited a guy that had mobile outdoor shelters, and I don't even know what the animals were. I don't know if it was lambs, pigs, chickens. I don't know what it was, but I remember his exuberance driving home at the idea of portable infrastructure. Just that concept of portable infrastructure, that it was just a breakthrough. Because when you're innovating, you don't want to be locked in to a location, a design, a place, a thing, a system. And so portability allows you to get in to stuff very, very cheaply, but you don't have so much tied up in it that you can't, if you want to change, you change it. It's not a great big deal. The farm was not a commercial enterprise for all of the until about when I came back full time, September 24, 1982. But until then, it was really a glorified homestead. And we had 2 milk cows, we grew our own pigs, we field slaughtered beef, shot them in the field, and we, with a block and tackle, pull them up in a tree, and skin them out. And old time neighbors would come over and help, because we'd not done this. And so there were a lot of old timers here that their eyes sparkled at the home butchery and all that, because nobody was doing it anymore, and of course Teresa's family still did it. They had Thanksgiving hog killing, and of course I went over there and I was my generation was wanting out of it, but I loved it. you know. And so I learned all I could learn from grandparents and grandparent-in-laws and stuff like that. And you know, we made our own cheese, our own butter. We had a big garden. We canned, we froze, we had our own eggs. We had our own wood. We were when the Arab oil embargo hit in '73. We were one of the first ones to get wood stoves and unplugged from the petroleum. Just to give you a tribute of Dad, so when the Arab oil embargo hit, he was head bookkeeper, estimator, accountant for a metal fabrication firm about 17 miles on the other side of Stanton. So he went out on the other side of Stanton, and 17 miles one way. And when that hit, he went to town and bought a 10-speed bike. Now he was in his early 50s. Okay, he's in his early 50s. He went to town and bought a 10-speed bicycle and rode to work and back every day on that bicycle. Of course, you know, we were early teens. We were mortified. You know, it embarrassed us to death. But looking back, that's conviction. You know, and he said, you know, if everybody do this, we tell the Arabs keep their oil. And he was exactly right. But of course, very few people live on conviction. And so anyway, he did that for several years. And then you know, when I came back, all these homestead skills created a platform to launch an upgrade, a level upgrade. You know, where you're actually trying to get enough scale to make a living. So the little you know, handmade forked compost pile becomes, we still didn't have a front end loader, but we had a neighbor with one. And so, you know, the first year I made a compost pile that was by hand, that was, you know, 45 feet long, 8 feet wide, and 6 feet high. Pretty big compost pile by hand. And then so I made it, and then I shoveled it by hand into the spreader, right? And we had a little, you know, little itty bitty spreader. But you know, over time, all of these little things, you know, an Eggmobile that was on bicycle wheels, and I pushed it around with 50 chickens in it, morphed into an Eggmobile with 800 in it. But it's just scale. The principles are the same. It's just a difference in scale. That's an old house. That's a 1790 American chestnut log cabin. You wouldn't know it looking at it right now, but it's actually on the Historic Landmarks Register as the farthest southern example of original German construction.
Wow.
So, you know, my background is very much kind of straddling into this kind of homestead experience, but then it morphed into a full-time salary, and so everything that we did then, the principles didn't change, just the scale changed. And I'm thinking maybe it's time to write a homestead livestock book, because the conundrum of my life is, when I started, when people, you know, and we did this and we were successful, we made a profit, and we started catching the attention of magazine articles, things like that, you know, this young grass-based family making a profit on it, you know, full-time. So I started speaking, and then the thing was, for the first 5, 6, 7, 8 years, the normal thing was the crowd would say, "Oh, that's real sweet, that's neat, you know, but how do you scale it up?" You know, all the old farmers. How do you scale it? Now it seems like 90% of my speeches are, "That's amazing. How do you scale it down? You know, how do you make this 1 acre, 2 acres, 5 acres?" And so I'm really feeling the pressure to do like a homestead livestock book, to take all these principles and scale them down for homesteaders.
And everybody said,
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good confirmation. But my heart is still, I appreciate the homesteading, but I absolutely believe that the heart of, not all, but many homesteaders, is if they could figure out how to actually make a living at it, they would. Not everybody by any means, but a lot. I mean, certainly more than 50% if they could. Yeah. Oh yeah. Turkeys are so different than chickens. You know, they're just, you know, a turkey has 30 vocal intonations. A chicken only has like 10. So they're far more communicative, you know, with different kinds of vocal So this is 1,000 chickens.
This is crazy. Gosh.
But isn't it pretty?
It is.
Beautiful.
All right, so this is 1,000 chickens. And so now here, same Energizer, but now here we have three of those 150-foot pieces of netting hooked together instead of 2. You see how much bigger the circle is than over there at the turkeys. We call this the Millennium Feather Net, obviously a takeoff from, you know, Star Wars, the Millennium Falcon. It was the fastest thing in the galaxy, but ugly as a pile of bolts, right? And so this is big. Now again, this is a permutation from prototypes. So the first one we did was a little 10 by 10 hoop structure, and then it got bigger. Then it got 12 by 20. And then we gradually, this design, we went away from the hoop structure. This design, I can't tell you enough good about it. This was an epiphanal breakthrough. This X truss, the thing will take 100-mile-an-hour winds because it's a real low center of gravity, as opposed to a hoop house, which can tip over or fly apart. So, you know, it's a little heavier than a hoop structure, but when you're dealing with portable, you're always in this fine line between light enough to move, but heavy enough to not blow around. You know, that's a real fine line there. And so this thing is right in that realm. The feed buggy in front, that's a feed buggy in front. So it's hooked by a chain to the structure. So you hook up with the tractor, and the whole thing moves through like a train. Okay, one pin, one hookup, and everything moves together. And the feed buggy can hold almost 4,000 pounds of feed, which is enough to take these guys for a month, which means you don't have to run out in the field but once a month. All right. So this thing about efficiency, about hauling 5-gallon buckets of feed, hauling stuff, you want to get your feed, you want to get to where you're not hauling stuff out there but about once a month, because that suddenly drops your chore time down every day, because now you're just dipping and you're filling your inventory one day a month, and you're just dipping from it on site instead of toting from here out there and running. It eats up your time. Are you with me? So so these guys get moved every 3 days. So you can see there they were just here, and now they're here, and there's we'll set up, you know, over here, and they just go around an area.
This is my happy place.
You like it?
This is my happy place. Do you smell how clean their poop is? Yeah. picture or video?
It's a video.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
goodness.
Oh, it's a beautiful bird.
Emily, hold
Birdie? Oh,
hold his wings tight. He'll whoop you to death. Or she will.
So is this the Wyandotte chicken that she was talking about? He said they don't produce as much. That's actually the kind of chicken I want.
I don't know, easiest things to scale up, and one of the hardest things it seems like for people to envision scaling down. And so when I say we've got 125 cow equivalents and we have 60 cow day grass, so I want them to have two acres, 2 times 60 is 120, so I'm going to have 2 acres for the day for 125 cow equivalents. It's really hard for people to imagine, well, what if I have 2 cows? So if you have 60 cow grass, 60 cow day grass, and you've got 2 cows, 60 cow day grass, how much are they going to need for a day? 2 cow equivalents, 60 cow day grass, 1/30th of an acre. 30 times 2 cows is 60. So 1/30th of an acre. What's 1/30th of an acre? What's an acre? An acre is 5,000 square yards. It's a little bit, yeah, that's about 120 square yards too big, but 5,000 is a lot easier to work in your head than, 4,900 or 832. So 5,000 square yards divided by 1/30th is 150, 100 and 160 would be 48. So 165 square yards. What's 165 square yards? Well, 16 yards by 10 yards. And there's always a wise guy that says 1 yard by 165. That's really not a very good paddock to set up. But anyway, you can visualize this, see, and so then you've got your imagine you've got a 2 acres out here in your homestead, your pasture, and so you've got these 2 cows, and you're giving and so you move them every day or every 2 days, and you give them these little paddocks, and you just take all of this and you just scale it down, but it's the same thing. The equity here is not in infrastructure. The infrastructure is nothing. I mean, this is just a little wire and some posts and an energizer down there on the corner. I mean, it's nothing. The equity here is in the wisdom of management. How big do you make the paddock? When do you come back to the grass? I mean, those are all that's where the equity is in this, all right? But the actual infrastructure is, is pretty simple.
Tater bug, eating my potatoes. Tater bug, don't want my tomatoes. Tater bug, what makes you so hungry? Tater bug, eating all my money. What makes your garden grow? Water and sunshine. What makes your spirit grow? Knowing that she'll be mine. Tater